Fuck the Mother movie. Fuck it. Fuck this stupid ass movie. Darren Aronofsky, however the hell you pronounce his damn name, directed one of my favorite movies, Black Swan. I really enjoyed Black Swan. I thought Black Swan was fucking terrific, despite the crazy nature and the fact that a lot of things in there didn't really make sense, except at the end. If you haven't seen Black Swan, pretty good, messed up. Mother, less so. Has 4 pretty damn good actors in it. Jennifer Lawrence, who I love, who plays the mother character, duh. As you could tell by the trailer, Javier Bardem, in one of my favorite movies, No Country for Old Men. And he was also in Skyfall. He's been in a bunch of stuff. Javier Bardem is awesome. Ed Harris, who I will admit I thought was dead for some reason. Glad he's not. He was in it, and his wife was played by Michelle Pfeiffer. And there were other sort of actors in there, and including, I believe, the guy that played Liz from American Horror Story Hotel, and he was also in a few other seasons. He was in the movie, too. So, okay, let's see. Let's try to summarize the plot without spoilers, not that it matters. Starts out with a woman that's burning, and then we go to the house forming. Like, seriously, it's like a tranquil experience, and suddenly this house that seems stuck in time is, is populated by 2 people. The mother, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and him, played by Javier Bardem. You never actually find out anybody's name, at least of the main cast. So, suddenly, and if you've seen by the trailer, you know where this is going. There are people that come in the house all of a sudden, and Jennifer Lawrence wants them to leave. Duh, I wouldn't want strangers in my house either. Seems pretty reasonable. A lot of really weird shit starts happening. It's like it's in a different reality. And it seems that Darren Aronofsky wrote it. I'm surprised that more people didn't write it, or maybe Darren has multiple personalities, because this story went from here to here to here to here to here. It went over there at one point, and it went back behind, and then it went back in on itself. The problem with a movie like this is the movie thinks it's a lot smarter than it is. And that's one of the most irritating things about it. It is really hard to describe it without spoilers. Essentially what it is where it starts and what the whole thing is. Like I talked to my friend that I watched it with after we were like driving home, after I was driving her home. There's a couple, theories about it, like as far as like the story. It's either religious based or it's nature based. That much I'll say. Both make sense, but the movie's execution is lousy. I mean, it's really, really lousy. You can have an artistic psychological thriller and actually do pretty well with it. Or even artistic with psychological undertones. Doesn't even have to be a thriller. The thing about the movie is stuff was just happening for the sake of happening. That's really what it was. There really wasn't a whole lot to the movie that made any sense. Characters were just chucked at us, and then they were taken away. And it's just, like, even with, thinking about either the religious, aspect of it, or even the possible other aspect of it, the non-religious story arc, both, while, I guess, noble, they just don't add up. And they don't add up to anything interesting, and that's the problem with it. For the 2 hours of this, it felt like it lasted about 4 damn years. There just wasn't anything to it. This reminded me a lot of The Skeleton Key. It had Kate Hudson and had a few other people in it. A movie, again, that it was pretty obvious where it was going from the beginning. And I had a pretty good idea where this was going from the beginning. And so did my friend. In fact, she called it pretty much from, I would say within the opening 5 minutes. And the thing is again, Javier Bardem, Jennifer Lawrence, Ed Harris, Michelle Pfeiffer, 4 really, really good actors and actresses. Maybe we're all calling them actors now. I don't have any idea. There was the potential for something at least to be decent. And I was willing to give it a chance till about an hour in, an hour and 10 minutes, and then it's just everything just went fucking off the rails. Not that the rails were, very steady anyway. they weren't very steady, weren't very sturdy. This just wasn't any good. I mean, it just wasn't. It was draining. It wasn't scary, which I'm not sure if it was meant to be scary. I don't think I jumped once. I mean, there were only a few jump scares. The acting, and I gotta say this, for as much as I love this cast, the acting was atrocious. I mean, the acting was absolutely atrocious. Darren Aronofsky doesn't direct a lot of movies. I mean, like I said, the only movie of his I liked was Black Swan. Sorry, I thought The Wrestler was overrated. I thought Mickey Rourke did a great job playing somebody washed up and trying to recapture his glory, kind of like Mickey Rourke has been trying to do for a number of years. Black Swan, like I said, I enjoyed. I thought Black Swan was fun, but this just wasn't. This was just total ass. Like, any amount of, like smarts that this movie claimed to have, they just weren't there. They just weren't there. This movie was soulless, and the ending in particular, where I'm just like, okay, this is dumb. I mean, it's really, really dumb. Like, it just really is. There's just no other way to describe it. I mean, it's like, it limped to its conclusion. It limped from the beginning. It limped in the middle. It went all off the rails near the end. There was one little bright spot of violence towards the end, which if you watch it, you'll understand what I'm saying. Let's just say glass shards come into play. And it's kind of cool where I'm like, oh, hey, some action is had and it's over. It just, yeah, I mean, obviously possible spoilers, which I put in the title as you see if you're watching this. And it just seems like a scathing rant, which, look, I don't fault the actors. Maybe Darren Aronofsky actually is artistic, but this movie was shit. And I would encourage it if people are going to watch it. One, do not pay full price. Use passes if you're going to. I've used passes. In fact, the last few movies I've watched, I've used passes. When I watched it, I used passes, even though I enjoyed it. And then check out that. That was my last movie review. Mother movie, it's just, does it make sense as to what, like why the movie's called Mother? Yes. It just, the problem is this movie limped so hard. Like, just so much and so much out of the gate. It's like it wasn't even like watching a hare and a tortoise race. It was like watching a dead tortoise, and a rotting tortoise try to race. And it was just absolutely terrible. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Like, seriously, fuck this movie. This movie should have never been made. And that's all due respect to the cast. This movie was ass. Absolute 100% ass. Even with what they were trying to do, there was no reason to watch it. No reason. And I mean, look, if people watched the movie and if they actually liked it, great. If you saw something in it that I didn't, fine. That's awesome. But this movie was terrible. It was a lot like the Skeleton Key, like I said. Skeleton Key thought it was intelligent, and it really wasn't, and it began and ended in pretty much the same spot. This somehow managed to go backwards, and was just it was a lot of noise. It was a lot of walking around. Like, I mean, this movie did descending stairs and staring around rooms really well. I'll give it that much credit. The house looked really cool. And Jennifer, like I said, Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, two of my favorite actors. It's just, this was bad. I mean, Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer were fine again. It was weird. It's like everybody was being filmed in a different movie or with a different screenplay or something. Nothing came together. I mean, I guess, and the guy that played him, Javier Bardem, was a poet, but still, it was nothing. This movie started with nothing, somehow ended up with even less. So anyway, that's why I guess this movie gets an F. It gets an F. It's just bad. It was just bad. It was trash, and I was willing to give it a chance. But just this movie, it almost broke me. I actually feel that I lost brain cells watching it. But again, if people watched the movie and they enjoyed it, great. That's awesome. I don't understand why, but whatever. Anyway, so that's what I gotta say. Do you agree? Do you disagree with what I've said? If you watched the movie, like, share, comment, subscribe. My Twitter link is in the description. This has been Real Honesty with Jar Mifflin. I'm Jar Mifflin. Fuck the Mother movie, and I will see you at some point.